So I say welcome to the room, everybody. Welcome to 3, BCR, and I don't want to butcher your name. I'm not on the front screen right now. I haven't hosted a space in like maybe 2 or 3 months, but I used to do a space every week for another community, High Rollers, but that's another story. Blazer, welcome to you guys. So I'm getting back into the swing of it. It'll smooth out. But for the most part, I invited y'all here to talk about why we XPX. And then that way I'm using XPX as an action because for me, it's become something I do. And let me back it up. So I call this space the memo. And for me, the memo serves as a reminder, a hint or a nudge towards the family that is XPX. And as a friend of mine, PD Pure, used to say, check your desk. In this case, it will be on brand what I would say the office. Like, this is my Dunder Mifflin. Taking a page out of that show's book, I say I'm passing the memo around the office of XPX to the family and getting everybody on one accord. And they can add input and message me back if they need to. Now, for those who don't know me, my name is VE, Venturer Empathetic. I kind of adopted it. I got it from a Wu-Tang name generator because I was bored. There's a story behind that, but that's for another day. And I just stuck with it. And for those who don't know, I'm a close, I like to consider us friends. Blockchain associate of Rico. We met in previous communities, built a bond regarding trading, futures, and all things crypto. And during that time, I heard the rumblings of XPX back then, and I was in the Telegram for the smart contract testing on the BNB testnet. Now, fast forward, the pre-sale was among us, and I had a very distracted weekend during that lunch. But Ali, before I even knew of his like role in XPX, he sent me a DM on Twitter, and he was like, "Hey, bro, I missed the pre-sale." And I was actually very interested because like Ali was hosting the testnet and things like that. So when he did that, I respected that a lot. So I went ahead and threw like just to support. I threw a couple BNB in there and just let it sit, and it's pretty much still sitting to this day. But I respected that so much, I remembered it, and then I fast forwarded to a time, and it's funny you hear 3 because that had kind of something to do with alt control as well. I remember when you first launched alt control, and I had just it was a project from 2021. I had just put like 5K in it, and I had just like lost like half of my money. And what I didn't lose, I sent to you, and then um, actually that week I guess you guys had lunched or whatever. I had got the flu, so I never even saw like the first all time high and all that. So when it was finally coming back down, and I was like, I had figured out. I had got rugged 10 times that week, so that was the whole reason of me taking my initial out. If it wasn't for that and all the bad experience I had with bad devs, I would have never touched that. And I say that to say, with XPX, I kind of learned my lesson. I didn't touch anything outside of pulling my initial. Other than that, liquidity is still sitting there, BNB is still sitting there. But that was something I still appreciated, that during that turbulent time when I was always getting rugged and constantly trusting developers and getting the short end of the stick. I came back and checked my XPX bags, and I was like, oh, these are up 5 or 6x. What is Rico doing? Because I initially got into the project just to support Rico. Like, if I see somebody in the space and I respect them, I don't even care what they're doing. Like, I want to see projects be successful. So if I can help control the floor, support the floor, here, take the money. If we win, we win. We lose, we lose. But I actually just want to support something real out here. So once I got to that point, it started to click. But it didn't really start to click until we got to how can I put it? We was in the background trading futures. Oh, I see you, NFT hype. I'll bring you up after I finish this. We was in the background trading futures, me and Rico, in the High Rollers group, and he was teaching us. He taught me some stuff that I still was making money with today. So if I saw that he launched the project, I was like, it's easy for me to throw some money in here. I've made way more money with the stuff he taught me with the indicators and stuff than I've ever lost with him. So, and everybody know about the money bags mansion and things like that. So I actually said, okay, cool. I'm gonna just give him the money, let him rock with it, and do whatever he do. But when we was trading those futures, I was trading with a couple other high rollers. I'm not gonna name their names because they hate this story. Um, we was trading those futures. They were chasing all the high volume pumps, the Shiba that we was trading. The spot. We was trading like the big futures, and they was looking at all the volume, and they was chasing the volume. And while they was doing that, I was looking at Bitcoin, and they was like, "Why are you trying to trade that Bitcoin? Bitcoin ain't gonna do this. It's not gonna do that." I'm like, bro, I don't think y'all can really see the vision. And I think Bitcoin was at like 39K, and it was at that moment I had like my Michael Saylor moment. I was like, "Am I the only one that can see this?" So they got liquidated, and I ended up having a 500% long, but I eventually got liquidated. But it was funny how I saw it grow. But it clicked for me. I said, okay, Bitcoin is the thing to do right now. Got it. Message received. So I think it was shortly after that I started looking for some way to get paid in Bitcoin. So I started getting paid in Bitcoin. You know, Coinbase got the debit card, so it ties in. I'm getting paid in Bitcoin. Everything's going great. Got in early. Ironically, I did something dumb, but my plan was working perfectly. I said, all I gotta do is get paid in Bitcoin. I know it's gonna run up. When it run up, I'll just cash it out in the stables, and then I'll start throwing it into my projects and respectfully. But that's a whole nother space that I'm gonna make probably tomorrow or next week about how to be how I've been learning to be what they say studious, a good custodian of my crypto, studious with my money. So that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so once I started getting paid in crypto and I started actually another side note, back it up. So a while back, I got into a lot of debt. So I became a Dave Ramsey advocate. I have like 10 credit cards. I'm not good with credit cards. So I ended up just getting into a lot of debt and paying it off at a rapid speed, which ties into consistency and how we ended up here. Like I ended up working 100 hours a week for like 4 months, paid it all off. So the debit cards really stuck with me. So now fast forward to XPX. I'm like, okay, Rico launched this project. The project is going good. Let me go actually figure out what these cards are about, especially since Coinbase took my direct deposit away. So I got all the way up to that point, and I was like, all right, I'm locked in for the long haul. And that was pretty much how we ended up here. And I haven't really got to why I XPX. I was going to take the time to ask anybody in the audience why they're in XPX before we move on. And then we'll see what's coming up next. If anybody coming in, you want to speak, because I can go on long spills. I never run out of points to talk about. I was going to ask anybody who wants to come up, hey, why are you in XPX? What is your connection to Rico? And how did you get here? Because I don't know if you missed that point, but I went over a lot. And I see NFT, he probably has something to do. I talk to him every day. He hosts spaces all the time. He probably be like, maybe just me and him in there, a couple people. He invite me places. He busy, so I understand that. But with wrapping that up, I can just proceed on. Checking hands, no hands. You got anything to add, BCR?
No, I'm good. We can keep going. Yeah, I'm just excited to see the direction that this thing goes into. There's a lot of key points that Rico's touching on in 2025, and then with the Bitcoin conference and everything, it's going to be pretty crazy to see XPX pushed out there a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be different. Trying to actually get out the blockchain and shake hands and carry hand sanitizer. I'm gonna enjoy that. So you're gonna get a lot more probably yeses and nos in person. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and proceed forward and get to my next point. Yeah, so I had my Michael Saylor moment with Bitcoin, and the cards started clicking for me. So it's crazy how this tied up. That's a whole nother space. It's crazy how it all tied up. But for the most part, I got into using his card, and I actually figured out, oh, he already launched the utility, and it works. Cool. And then somehow, some way, like I went through other turbulent moments in crypto where devs wasn't doing exactly what they said they was gonna do. And I guess he saw the writing on the wall, for then he hit me up and he was like, hey, come get your card. And then I think I told this story a lot of times in the past week, but there was a series of coincidences where I lost all 10 of my credit cards, I lost all my debit cards, and then I come home and it's express delivery from, I guess, Rico doing the KYC or whatever. The card is sitting there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. And that card ended up saving me for like a whole week, like literally. Because he sent the card preloaded with money on it. Because you buy a card for 140, it comes with like $80 or $90 on it. So I used it. Like I still have my digital cards, but I'm talking about when I go to like places that don't have Apple Pay or something like that, I actually ends up like, oh, I'm in the sticks. I have to use this XPX card. Oh, it really works. Got it. So now on top of me already liking Rico, already rocking with him, now he got something that I can actually use and learn the product and get into it like that. So I'm like, all right. I didn't really make this space particularly about that product. It was just really about why. we are in XPX and the coincidence of how we got there. So moving forward, I still think it's bigger than us and it's bigger than cards. I know that Rico got a lot of more things coming, like as far as like things he's looking to add on. I don't even know if I can speak about those things, but also I want to highlight some of the things that happened in the. Actually, it was really last night per se. Last night, I walked into a space. It was a guy named, I don't want to mispronounce his name. I think it was Kings, and he was just talking about. He was just really talking about different projects in the space, random space. But then he got into the LA wildfires, and I guess I could take this time to throw up some tokens, not some tokens, some links that I forgot to put up. I ain't pinning nothing in the chat or anything like that. But he was talking about the wildfires in LA, and I was like, hey, I wasn't gonna post, but here we was talking about that, so I'll post it up. Rico had made a, I believe it was Rico on the XPX token main page where he was like, they will offer free access to the pay portal for any charity organizations assisting the LA fires and working on behalf. Well, you know the whole spiel. You can read the tweet. My whole point is those are the type of actions I'm looking for in crypto. Those type of devs I'm looking to support. People that's doing things outside the box. Yeah, the money's cool, and I already knew from the consistency of being in debt and working those hours. You put in the effort, the money's gonna come regardless. Like, but I feel like you gotta have some type of back end, some type of. I like to insert some type of humanity into what we are trying to do. So for me, I really appreciated that he was doing that, and I saw how that was much needed in the space, and how a lot of people saw that was needed in the space, and that's going back to the title. That's why XPX, because I know Rico on a human level, and I know he cares about people. Like he didn't have to sit with us on the weekends, on Saturdays, and teach us futures for free for 4 or 5 weeks. Knowing his expertise, and he wasn't teaching per se. Like he wasn't giving you the whole spiel, but he was giving you enough to feed yourself. And that's something that I respect a lot, and that's something that I just like to see in the space. And it goes back to that tweet, thinking outside the box and thinking about other people. And that's just something I like. So I'm just putting that out there. Then I had another one. It was another tweet he made today, making it something like I said would be, I guess, bigger than crypto, so to speak. And I'm gonna go ahead and post that one up. He said, "Let's go to it." He said, "You don't run from problems, you solve them." And too many times, like I said, I've been in so many projects, so many devs, docs devs. Yeah, they start out transparent and then they wither away, or they start out one way and then they just fall by the wayside. They run into a problem and they run from it, and that's not something I've ever really been into. I've never been that type of person. Like, I got the perfect example sitting in the audience. Three, she launched All Control about a year ago and went through all the ups and downs and kept building. And I'm pretty sure Rico has some ups and downs as well. And I know some other devs that had some ups and downs, and you ain't seen them in 7 or 8 or 9 months. So that's speaking to the character of why we XPX. XPX is starting to become an action, and it's starting to mean something more than, like Rico say, it's more than these cards. It's more than, getting these payment processors out. I even thought about how he was saying like he's going to have payment processors in countries like, the Brazilian markets, the Latin markets, the less affluent, not to be disrespectful, but like it will provide a service to people that need it in places like other people will be like, hey, we got cards here, we got things here. It might not be for you, it might be for somebody else. And that's something like providing that service or looking out for the next person. That's something that I would consider admirable, and that's something I want to be behind. That's something I would want to stand on. So pretty close to the end of opening it up the floor to everybody. If anybody got anything to say, I was just gonna post up one last thing, and that was for this is something I like. Rico got a shield space. He on episode 125. He got the YouTube channel. This is where I've been having everybody shield. This is where I've been dropping all the projects. This is where he dropped alpha. He try to pull everybody together. He try not to be, like so fragmented. Like some of the people you see in crypto that's so tribalistic. This is where he actually allow people to like. He gonna be mad at me too because I ain't even invite him in here. He said if I'm always online to invite him, so I'm gonna send him an invite live, just in case he's up because he be doing a lot. But going back to sharing that, he got the shield space where you can come drop any project, you can share anything, you can be inclusive, and you can grow. And that's more of the ways that he's giving back to the space. That's more of things that I want to be a part of. Because I remember when I came into crypto and it wasn't as inclusive, and people were tribalistic. And if you talked about anything else, they kick you out the Telegram. It was kind of weird. So I didn't really like that, but I do like that he has that platform, and I believe, which is going back to why we XPX, seeing the energy of how he moves with his platform. Whenever he go live, I make a chance. I make him every chance I get to pull over. I'm gonna hype it up. I'm gonna tag it up. I'm gonna invite all the communities. I'm gonna go to the Telegram. I'm gonna make tweets because I feel like that's the energy we need. Like you have to be injecting that. If you got a person like Rico, for example, you have to be injecting that energy into them so they can expand the energy out. You can already see they have the potential to expand it out. Just support the energy, help it expand. Help it expand. It's gonna be good for everybody. It's gonna be good for crypto, for the communities, for XPX, for everybody. So within that retrospect, I like to say we just gonna keep supporting the energy, and that's something I want to highlight. If I ever make a space and there's somebody in the space, and I'm really rocking with them, and like say it's their project or something like that, I'm gonna promote whatever you do. If I, especially if I see it's something that's pertinent in the space that could pertain to everybody. So that's why I believe everybody should just go check out that shield space and keep an eye on it, and we just keep spreading energy like that. So right now I go toward wrapping this thing up. I pretty much hit all my points in pretty rapid succession. So if anybody got anything to say, I'll open up the floor. So yeah, this was pretty much the memo. It was something I started off in the mornings, and I was looking into making it into a morning thing. I think I only did this one time. I think the first episode I made was called Align. It was about like aligning with your purpose and things like that. It was meant to be like a 1 to 5 minute thing, but I'm down to let it go as long as it's gonna go. But I like to go with the flow. I don't like to stretch things out. I don't like to make things what they not. So once the energy wraps up, I like to wrap it up right there. So if ain't nobody got nothing to add, and if everything good with you, BCR, you got no words, three, you got no words, I would call that a good show, a good flow of energy, and I wrap it up right there. So